Thank you for thank you for taking time out and being here today. CCS Learning Academy is a professional training division of CCS Global Tech, a 28 years old full service IT consulting firm. We offer a wide range of innovative technology solutions, training and career placement. My name is Anurag Thakur, Senior Learning Consultant at CCS Learning Academy, and I've been in technology and professional training sector for over a decade. I work with student organization and leaders for their technical and professional development journey. We'll be running a live Q&A at the end of the webinar. So we have enabled our Ask a Question feature. It is on the bottom of your screen. So if you have any question, just pop them in there. Today we have a well-respected delivery head, Nitin Gupta. He is a Microsoft certified trainer with 10 years of experience in data engineering and business intelligence. Also specialized in data modeling, ETL data visualization, and Azure solution. He has assisted clients and consultants throughout the US, India, Costa Rica, and UK. So, Nitin, you can take it from here.
Thank you very much. I hope my screen is visible. So, hi guys, welcome to CCS Learning Academy. And today we are going to understand the basic fundamental things about the Microsoft Azure. What is Azure all about? What's the purpose of it? How we can utilize it for different operations related to data, related to business intelligence, related to the web application, related to storage, related to network, and many more. Okay. So I think you know about the Kajal, and I'm Nitin Gupta. I am Microsoft certified trainer and holds master degree in computer science. Currently, I am playing the role of delivery head for BI services in different locations in Costa Rica and India. And I also have attended different projects and done different projects for US location and Costa Rica location. So I have multiple year of experience also in training across different organization and providing support for ETL, Power BI, and cloud operation. So let us start today about our today's agenda first. That's very important to set the agenda first. And once we are comfortable, we can move ahead. So first we will see what is Microsoft Azure all about and how it can be utilized for different operation, what are features. Then we can talk about the cloud computing. What is cloud computing all about, right? Then we can talk about the cloud models. So it provides you knowledge on infrastructure services, cloud, platform services, and software services. After that, we are going to understand cloud service types, what different certification we have, what we can achieve, and what are different job roles we can utilize. So guys, Microsoft Azure is a cloud computing platform with an ever-expanding set of services to help you build solutions to meet your business goals. So I hope cloud is very common word today. It was not too common if I'm talking about 10 years back, but today it is very common word and different vendors are there which are providing cloud services like AWS, Azure, Google, Oracle, right? But Microsoft Azure basically is a master in terms of services. Services in the sense we are having n number of services available in Microsoft Azure And because we know that Microsoft operating system is one of the widely used operating system for generic operation also, and they have utilized their power of OS for providing database, web, and infrastructure services in the cloud. So whatever your business goals are, that is a very important thing, business goals. Because guys, we cannot be a master of all the services. So for example, let us suppose if we are an entrepreneur and we want to open our own set of business, okay? So there might be a possibility that you have a requirement of different IT services. So might possible you have a website, that is fine. But then you started dealing with your customers, with your employees, and we need to store the data. So rather than storing the data on premises, which can be a costly operation because of purchasing a hardware, purchasing your own server, purchasing your own database licenses, implementing all the backup and recovery operation, and performing maintenance activities, we can take the database services from the cloud, right? Similarly, there might be a client who have to set up a huge network architecture. So rather than we are setting the huge network architecture for application servers, web server, database server, and purchasing of this server can be a costly affair. So we can utilize Azure services for these kind of operations. So the business goal is very important term. For what business goals we want to utilize our services. So as you can see in the second bullet point, Azure provides a wealth of cloud-based services like remote storage, right? So we can basically utilize it only as a storage, database hosting. So we can host our database in terms of SQL Server on the cloud, and centralized account management. So with the help of centralized account management by Azure Active Directory, we are able to set up these services on the cloud. So with the help of centralized account management, we are able to handle Power BI services and Azure services. So Azure Fundamental is a series of 3 learning paths that familiarize you with the Azure and its many services and features. So we are going to see what are these services all about. That will be helping you to understand different operation in terms of database, in terms of storage, in terms of account management, and how it can be utilized to further provide different features that can be connected to your on-premise systems and software. So Azure Fundamental is your curated guide to Azure for networking, storage services, and compute architecture. So if I'm talking about networking, that's the first time. Let us see as per the bullet point. Okay. So guys, we know that information technology is a backbone of any company, any organization. So if we have to set up a network architecture for any organization, we sometimes require different server, hosting server. And some of these hosting server I would like to introduce like web server, right? Database server, n-tier multiple architecture that's called application servers, right? Okay. And implementing a complete network with the help of protocols between these server. Now, purchasing of these server can be a costly affair. In addition, we also implement maintenance activities on those server, which can also be a costly affair. So in this particular case, rather than we are going to deploy uh, the servers on premises, we can basically take the services of this server from the cloud. That is very easy operation. And uh, as per our consumption, we can pay our bill to the cloud, right? So it is something like what? Uh, Paying for the services. Just for example, whatever electricity we are using at our home, whatever water consumption we are using at our home, we have to pay the bill as per the consumption. In a very similar fashion, whatever resources we are consuming from the cloud, Based on the utilization, based on the frequency, we have to pay the bill to Azure. That's same for the storage services. So I think guys, when sometime we talk about the cloud, everybody says about Azure is storage. No, Azure or cloud is not storage. Storage is a type of service which is provided you to buy Azure and other cloud providers. So Azure storage is a storage which is a backbone of virtual machine, which is a backbone of SQL Server. So whenever we create any virtual machine, SQL Server database, or any other resource, the data is getting stored in the storage services, right? And finally, we have the compute architecture. Now, this compute is a very important word, guys. What is compute architecture? Just for example, when we started to run our services in our cloud, let's suppose one of the clients said, "Hey, Nitin, we require a server on the cloud." So when I'm going to make a server in the cloud with the help of virtual services, I can ask multiple questions to him. Can you please tell me that what storage you want? So let's suppose he said, I want 10 terabyte of storage. I said, okay. Then basically I can ask him, hey, how much processing power you want? So he's saying, I want a processing power similar to i7 core processor 10th generation. I said, fine. Then I can ask him question, how much RAM we want? So he's saying, let's say I need 16 GB of RAM or 20 GB of RAM. So this is called what, guys? Compute architecture. So based on this, we can find a suitable server and we can create this server on the cloud. And later on, whenever we have a requirement to upgrade the architecture, for example, after 3 or 4 months, the client is getting exponential growth. So when the client is getting exponential growth, they need more better power in their servers, right? So in this particular case, we can simply log into our Azure portal and we are able to upgrade our compute size of the server. In terms of storage, I can make it to 20 terabyte. If I'm talking about processing power, I can add more processing power. If I'm talking about the space or RAM, I can add more RAM into the system by just a few clicks. And not only that, whenever we have the requirement of degrade the architecture, just for example, I would like to focus here that in 2020, we have got the corona situation, right? COVID. And at that moment of time, there were lots of service sector companies and who were not getting good businesses, right? They want to survive. Suppose one of the company have their entire infrastructure in the cloud and they were utilizing it for, let's say, 2000 customers. But because of COVID, now we have got only 500 customer or less than 500 customer in the picture. So there was no point of using a very high compute size of multiple terabytes of space or multiple GB of RAM or multiple processor of the hard disk, right? So in this particular case, we are able to degrade the architecture and we have to pay the bill according to that architecture. So Funda is very easy, guys. It means it is very flexible in terms of compute architecture. So whenever we have the requirement to upgrade the hardware, we have to pay the bill according to that. And whenever we have the requirement to degrade the architecture, we are able to do it and we have to pay the bill according to this. So this is called elasticity concept of the cloud. And every cloud computing company provide this kind of services, right? Oh. So Azure fundamentals include interactive exercises that give you hands-on experience with Azure. So guys, once you go for this certification, that will be helping you to understand basic interactivity, basic services that will be giving you more hands-on experience with the Azure. Yeah. So let's talk about the cloud computing. So guys, cloud computing is the delivery of the computing services over the internet. So cloud computing is a common concept, guys. It's not related to any specific cloud provider, for example, Azure or AWS. So cloud computing is the delivery of the computing services over the internet, and these can be there can be multiple services in terms of infrastructure, in terms of virtual network, in terms of databases, in terms of storage, in terms of web application, in terms of e-commerce, in terms of mobile application. It totally depends upon which kind of service you would like to use. So as you can see, whatever I was telling you, so the computing services include common IT infrastructure such as virtual machines, storage, database, and networking. So guys, it's not like this that every vendor wants to take every kind of services, right? For example, I'm interested only for database services. So I would like to go for only for database services, right? There might be a client and he wants to go for the web application services because they want to deploy website over the cloud, right? There might be a possibility that some persons want to go for reporting and dashboard analytical services. They just want to use Azure for deployment of the reports, right? So totally again depends upon your requirement. Microsoft Azure provides more than 600 plus services. So you can assume these 600 services belongs to different category. Okay. Cloud services also expand the traditional IT offering to include things like machine learning, that is called ML, and artificial intelligence, right? So Microsoft is performing lots of upgrades on the cloud. So one of the service in the Azure is called Data Factory. And in Data Factory, we can perform different activities with the help of machine learning and artificial intelligence. So let's talk about the cloud models. So you can see, guys, we have in this picture, we have different kind of cloud models available. The first is called public cloud. Second is called private cloud. Third is called hybrid cloud. And fourth is called community cloud. Let us understand one by one. Private cloud. If I'm talking about private cloud, it's simply a infrastructure which is completely managed by a company on premises. On premises means local. Just for example, again, I have a small company. I have 50 employees. I have 100 customers. The entire infrastructure, IT infrastructure, in terms of storage, in terms of server, networking, everything is basically where in my own locally hosted in my company, right? So I am the one who is responsible for any problem. For example, there might be a possibility on a particular day that my one of the servers not working. So I have hired multiple network engineers who will take care the reason behind this, troubleshoot it, and perform the recovery operation. In similar fashion, I have hired some person who will perform backup operation on daily basis to make sure my data is backed up, right? So everything, every single activity is managed by my own as a company, and I have hired different persons for securities, for databases, for backup, for replication to perform all these kind of operation. So this concept is called what, guys? Private cloud. Entire data, entire infrastructure is locally hosted. Nothing is on the cloud. Now, when we talk about the private cloud, we come up with multiple kind of challenges, right? So that is why we are getting a different cloud architecture. So what are the challenges in terms of private cloud? The first challenge, which is a very basic one, guys, it's called scalability, right? Now, what do you understand by the scalability? Currently, the company has, let's say, only 50 employee and 100 customers, and the infrastructure they have purchased according to the growth of next 2 to 3 years or 5 years. That's fine. Let's suppose company started to get exponential growth because of its good services and good loyalty to customers. Now the problem is what the current infrastructure is not able to handle the workload and the transactional operation between the company and the client. In addition, the company is also planning to open more branches in the city. or multiple cities, and they have to expand their information technology architecture. This is, guys, a everlasting process. If the company is getting a growth in terms of customer, in terms of employee, the infrastructure has to be scaled up, right? This is a scalability problem. So in this particular case, what they need to do, they need to upgrade their hardware and networking infrastructure. And this will always be a problem for a company which is growing up, right? The second problem that comes is what? Maintenance. Now, maintenance comes in different manner. For example, I have a server, and that's my primary server, which is able to handle all the operations for the company and client. Now, one day, this server was not working or failed because of any XYZ reason. So I cannot provide answers to my client. My client and customers are not able to interact with the application stored in the server, and that will be a problem. What's the solution? So if it is a private cloud, what is the solution? That did you arrange any backup server for the master server or not? If yes, that backup domain server will take the responsibility of the primary server in the case of failure. But it comes up with a cost, right? Because you should be having the backup server on the same capacity with the same cost. That will double your cost, right? Next is what? Backup and recovery. Suppose I have a database server, and we know, guys, database is the most important entity of the company, right? Data. And this was not working, or the backup was not taken properly. So client is not able to interact with their data on a transactional basis with the help of mobile application or web application. So these are the common problem. So in this particular case, we need to maintain all these kind of activity, which is called maintenance. Maintenance is the biggest problem, guys. So in this particular case, if you are performing different operation for maintenance like backup, replication, and implementing, I would say, deploying some resources like network engineers, database engineers for these activity, it can be a very costly affair. Nobody want to perform maintenance right now, guys. We just want to make sure we can pay you some money, but can you perform all the database, replication, backup, and other activity by your own? So we can get this advantage by what? Public cloud activities. So in terms of private cloud, if I want to share in nutshell, it is a privately hosted infrastructure. Every responsibility is basically owned by the owner, and if some failure problem comes, then we has to be very much ready with alternative arrangement if it is coming for a longer time period, and that can be a big problem for the customer and client. So solution is what, guys? Public cloud, right? So guys, public cloud are the professional cloud service provider, and they are very big players in the market in terms of, for example, Azure, AWS, and GCP, right? And they provide you full-fledged cloud services, and depends upon what kind of services you want to take. So I would say all these three major player, GCP, Azure, and AWS provides you um, services in terms of infrastructure, databases, BI, reporting, web application, and many more, right? So whatever services you want to take, you can take it. And based on the consumption, we have to pay the bill at the end of the month, right? They also providing you a billing calculator online. So if before taking the service, you want to see how much consumption has to be done, we can compare it by our on-premise architecture. Just for example, suppose I met with a consultant and he said, Nitin, you are going to establish your own company. So let us compare what cost will be there if I am creating infrastructure on premises, and what cost will be there if you're creating the same infrastructure on the cloud. So guys, I can go to the billing calculator of Azure, and we can basically perform all the consumption. We can check all the consumption in terms of storage, computing power, and I can check the price. In similar fashion, I can also check the price of purchasing the hardware, purchasing network devices, purchasing the server, and we can compare the cost. And you will surprisingly come to know that cost of getting the services from the cloud is more cheaper, because we also need to take care of what? Maintenance activities, right? Suppose I know that we have to hire a person who will take care of maintenance operation. I want to make sure my data is available 24 by 7, 365 days. I want to make sure I'm getting uninterrupted services. That will be not coming without a cost. It will be a costly affair. So, guys, all these services we are getting from where? From the public cloud. So, public cloud makes sure that once you're going to take any XYZ service, you don't need to worry after that. We are responsible. We, in the sense, cloud. So, cloud is responsible to provide you uninterrupted 24 by 7 services without any problem, taking full security, providing uninterrupted data, providing best quality, and they make sure that whatever application you have utilized from your a device like laptop, desktop, mobile is able to interact with the cloud, right? So this is again a wonderful, you can say, feature, right? The third is called what, guys? Hybrid cloud. Let us talk about hybrid cloud, right? So as you can see, the word hybrid is a combination, got it? Okay. So let's just suppose I already have my private cloud in my company, and I'm able to handle 50 customers and 50 employee as per the infrastructure. Now I'm getting some growth in the company, and to meeting the growth and the growing number of customers and employee, I need to upgrade or upscale my hardware and IT infrastructure. So guys, I will be utilizing my existing licenses. For example, I have a Microsoft SQL Server license right now in my company. I have Microsoft Windows operating system license in my company. So when I want to take services from the Microsoft Azure, they basically provide you some advantage on the costing. So when you are taking any service from the Microsoft in the cloud, they will be asking you, hey, do you have SQL Server license? I said yes. So in this case, your cost will be like 42 to 49% less, right? That same comes with the operating system. So rather than basically I am going only private or public, I want to make a combination, which is called what, guys? Hybrid cloud. So hybrid cloud basically is a collection or combination of taking care of infrastructure operation, database operation, other operation by a combination of private hosted infrastructure and publicly owned services. Finally, we have the community cloud. So community cloud, you know what was very common earlier. Still, it is also very common in terms of private cloud, but it was more popular earlier, I would say, right? So let me give an example of community cloud. Let's say there's a campus, and in that particular campus, it was a new building. Let's say in Florida or in some other location, and in that new building, we have got new offices for 20 companies, right? So obviously, those 20 company, again, as I told you, that we need IT infrastructure to be maintained. So those 20 company head can do a meeting, and rather than they are setting their IT infrastructure locally or personally, all of them have done the investment, and they have selected a place and purchased all the infrastructure capabilities by a collection of money that they have got from all 20 companies, right? So it's a mutual agreement, guys. Definitely, they must be having some agreement on this part. But in this case, now you can see that rather than each one is purchasing server and deploying a network engineer and implementing all the operation, if they basically hire a common person, a common server, a common network engineer who can take care of all 20 companies, plus they can basically all contribute to purchasing high quality servers and high quality machines in terms of network storage and every single thing, that can be very less. So this concept comes as what? Community cloud. But yes, it totally depends upon the mutual agreement between the different companies, right? So these are four types of cloud activity that basically are utilized. Now let us talk about the cloud service model. And if I'm talking about the cloud service model, we have three cloud service model, which is called IaaS, PaaS, and what? SaaS, right? So IaaS stands for infrastructure as a service. PaaS stands for platform as a service. And SaaS stands for software as a service. Let us talk about all these three things. So as you can see in the image itself, that infrastructure service comes on the top. I would say it is the base architecture. Then middle layer is called the PaaS, platform as service. And the end user, who are the end user? End user are the customer, are the client who want to use the services. They basically have SaaS based layer, software as service. So when basically we are implementing any operation on the cloud, it comes under any one of the category. So let's say suppose I'm talking about creating a machine, right? So there's a company who basically work in Linux operating system server, and they want the same capability to be implemented on what? On the cloud, right? So Microsoft Azure provides the deployment of Linux machine in the cloud in terms of virtual computer system, virtual machine. And when we are going to build it, definitely we need to understand the capacity of the operating system, right? Capacity of the server in terms of storage, in terms of compute architecture, in terms of processing power, every single thing. It is very much same to the private server, right? Okay. So it means infrastructure as service is basically very similar to create an architecture in the cloud, which is basically a resemblance of what? A local server in the private cloud. Okay. So once my infrastructure is established, it means my machine has been created in the cloud. But it is something like what? A raw machine. I just give you an example. Suppose you purchase a computer or laptop. So when you open the laptop, suppose it comes only with the operating system, but this laptop does not have any application. It's a raw machine which is given to you. Now, what's the second step, guys? Second step is what? We have to implement some kind of operation on this machine. For example, I'm giving example. I want to treat this laptop as a database server. I want to treat this laptop as an application server. I want to treat this laptop or machine as a web server, right? That is called what? Platform as a service, middle layer. So now the software developers basically have to utilize a service on which they can deploy a database or a website or any application. So this is called what, guys? Platform as a service. It means now they are making that raw server in the cloud ready for next level, right? And once this raw machine is ready with the platform, necessary platform, the third step is what, guys? Software as a service. Now, who will use the cloud, guys? Me, you, us, we'll use the cloud, right? So when, guys, we are going to use the cloud, how we can use it? So guys, today we are all using the cloud operation. For example, when we are connecting to any Spotify or online games or performing any online operation, Office 365 online, right? SkyDrive or OneDrive, Google Drive, right? So guys, we are utilizing those operation by an interface. It can be a mobile interface. It can be what? A web-based interface by a browser. It can be basically any gaming interface, online gaming interface. So how to make this interface? So guys, that interface basically is utilized by what? SaaS, software as a service. So this is utilized by what? End user. So we are going to make an interface to you. Through that, you are able to utilize cloud operation. So these are the three cloud service types. Let us talk about some certification. That is very important concept, guys. So guys, as we discussed, Azure provide more than 600 services, right? It totally depends upon your job profile. Nobody can do 600 services, right? So as I told, for example, if I'm talking about me, I'm a database and BI expert, right? So since I would say 2008, I have been in the field of databases, data migration, ETL activities, reporting and dashboard operation, and providing support to different clients. So I'm not very much good on the virtual machine or virtual network or hardware concepts, right? It means I would like to go for those certification from the Azure which provides data services. In similar fashion, suppose in my company I have a network engineer, right? He is the person who take care of all the network related capability, implementing network operation protocols and every single thing. He's not expert on SQL Server or BI operation. So he would like to go for certification which are good on virtual network and virtual machines and networking infrastructure. So it totally depends upon you. So guys, we have n number of certification available on the Azure, depends upon the job profile, depends upon the services you want to use. But today we would like to take an initiative on the very basic fundamental that is called AZ 900, which is a uh, fundamental of Azure certification, right? So this certification basically provides you initial certification that you are ready to take a next step on the Azure. Okay. So it will give you uh, uh, three knowledge areas. The first one is what? Cloud concepts, which comes near about 25-30%. Then what is Azure architecture and what are Azure services? It comes under 35 to 40% near about. And finally, how to describe the management, Active Directory, and governance part. Okay. So the Azure Fundamentals Learning Path series can help you prepare for exam AZ 900, Microsoft Azure Fundamental. So this exam include these three knowledge domain areas. Now what you achieve? Definitely guys, certification put more weight on the resumes, right? So when you are going with certification and putting that certification on your resume to apply for a job, it give you more credibility, more confidence, right? So it can also boost your career potential in applying for a job. Okay. It highlight your expertise in build credibility, higher learning potential, and improve security for the job profile. So guys, you can see that we have got some statistics near about that what job can be offered, what salary can be offered for different job engineers for Azure. But again, it may vary according to a location because we know that some locations are different from other location. So we have got the statistics from US. As per see, you can see we have some DevOps engineer available for this kind of job profile. Under that salary structure, cloud engineers, database engineers, right? Okay. So if you can see here, we can be a cloud developer, we can be a cloud architect, which is more high level profile, right? Cloud DevOps engineer for sharing your data and other operation on a centralized location, cloud system engineer, and cloud data engineer. If I click on this, so guys, you can get basically more information about Azure Fundamental, as I discussed with you, what are certification details, right? You can also find basically on which skills you will be measured. And we have some training operations available. You can see topics are there. Okay. Costing and how to schedule the examination. So depends upon the country, the price will get vary. Okay. So I would like to showcase, just give me a second, just the interface of the Azure, right? So here, guys, you can see the complete interface of Microsoft Azure. You know what, guys? This is nothing but what? SaaS, Software as a Service. So you can ask me a question, Nitin, how can we access the Azure services, right? So guys, we can access the Azure services from the interface, obviously. So I have an interface. that you can access with the help of which URL? portal.azure.com. When you basically write this one in the URL, obviously it will be asking for the login ID and password. So guys, you are able to make a free school account and you can log in with that school account into the cloud very easily. Right now, you can see I have logged in for my company account, right? Because we are the partner of Microsoft Technology and it offers some services to me as a free, right? So you can see in the first line itself, Azure services. So guys, as I told you that Azure provides hundreds of services. So you can see SQL Server, if I want to create a SQL Server database in the cloud, right? If I want to create a virtual machine in the cloud in terms of server, if I want to create storage, data factory for the ETL operation. ETL stands for extract, transformation, and load. So there might be a possibility the client has asked that we have to migrate data from your local system to the cloud. How can we do this? So we can perform the migration with the help of data factory, right? Then SQL databases. Under one server, we can create multiple databases and multiple pools of spaces. Okay. So guys, we from this interface, you can see that we are able to implement different. Then you can see some service like monitor, right? What is monitor actually? So for example, you have created a database in the cloud, right? And the database size was, let's say, 20 GB, and it was providing you the compute operation of, let's suppose, i5 processor capability near about and some RAM that you have selected. Okay. So now you want to monitor. Monitor in the sense I want to check my progress on databases, how much percentage it has been utilized on daily basis. All these things we can check by a dashboard which is provided to you by Azure, right? Similarly, how much billing has been done. Suppose at the end of the month, Microsoft send you a bill of less $20, right? So how this will be justified? So this dashboard will be helping you that how your hour by hour cost was utilized for whole month. So you got $20 of bill. So that is very transparent and very much clear when you work on Azure services, right? So these services basically comes under subscription, pay as you go, or some other services, right? And you can see that recently what services or what subscription we have taken. So it will show you all the kind of operation. Okay. So this is called Azure portal. And this portal basically is nothing but a software as a service portal, right? Now, if you see this picture, you can see that we are having some problem in the company whenever we work, hardware failure, right? So if I'm a private cloud owner, so I am completely responsible for all the machines and infrastructure. And if any problem comes, my client will not be able to access the data and access the information, right? So this is a problem. Second is what? Scalability. I need to scale up my architecture whenever I am getting a growth in the company in terms of new customers, new employee, and I want to upgrade my hardware. So this is called what? Scalability, right? That is a everlasting requirement, right? Resource fluctuation. So I give you an example that we got a COVID situation 2020, and whatever resources we created in the cloud, they are not fully utilized. I do not want to pay the bill as per the current infrastructure. I want to degrade my infrastructure. So guys, we can easily scale up or scale down the architecture in the cloud, and we can pay the bill as per the flexibility of that. This is called what? Resource fluctuation, right? Maintenance. It is always a problematic situation for any company, guys, because we know that every company has to suffer sometime about the problem like backup problem, recovery issues, failure, other problems comes in the picture. So guys, if I'm talking about this gap can be bridged by what? Replication. Replication is a facility from the cloud that makes sure my data is not stored in a single place. My data in the cloud is stored at multiple locations. So even the server in the cloud gets fail, I will get the data from second server. Elasticity. you are able to scale up or scale down your architecture in the cloud, which is never possible in the private cloud architecture, right? Unlimited storage. Whatever storage you want, you will get it with the help of Microsoft Azure architecture. So we can scale up, we can meet all this problem by this solution, and we can bridge the gap. So solution is what? Cloud computing. So it provides you data security, right? So guys, Microsoft Azure has built a trust among different customer for the last 10 to 15 years, if I'm talking about. So right now they have more than 4 to 5 million customers, individual companies, organization in the picture. And why we have too much of customers in the cloud? I'm not talking about the Azure. I'm talking about the Azure. I'm talking about Snowflake. I'm talking about the AWS, because they built a trust on the customer. Hey, your data is secure. That's why they are able to migrate data to the cloud, right? Unlimited storage, as I discussed with you, it totally depends upon how much storage you want to take. 30 terabyte, 50 terabyte, 100 terabyte, 1 petabyte. It totally depends upon you, right? Low maintenance. If you compare the infrastructure cost and service cost to the local hardware cost, guys, it will be very, very less. So that is what I told you, that Azure provides you Azure calculator that will be helping you to calculate the cost of Azure services against the cost that will be on the private cloud architecture, and you will find it very low. Improved collaboration. So when you're going to deploy your website, deploy your database into the cloud, we for example, I'm sitting in Costa Rica, somebody sitting in North US, somebody sitting in the East US, somebody sitting in the India location or Canada location or China location, right? So we have the improved collaboration when customers are sitting at different location and want to work on the same projects, right? Backup and restore data is the operation which is done by the cloud automatically based on the frequency and service you want to take. So that will make sure that I have all the data available in the cloud. Whenever I want, I will get it. So these are all the advantages of what? Cloud computing. So this is something about my side about the basic Azure fundamental today. Although we have more sessions on databases and a security operation that will be, I would like to attend on different operation. But if you really want to start your career on Azure cloud computing, the fundamental certification is necessary. That will give you much confidence on the Azure basic services. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Nitin, for this knowledgeable session. It looked like we have some questions from audience. Uh, Again, please pop your questions into the Q&A chat. If we do not get to your question during this session, we will be sending out a follow-up email to all the registered participants. And if you want more information, please email us. I have added our LinkedIn profile and email address in the chat, so feel free to add us. So there is no questions from audience. And Nitin, I have a question one, like how
Mhm.
cloud computing and Azure knowledge can help to boost career in IT professionals.
Right. So as we know that information technology is all based on what? Multiple concepts like infrastructure, right?
Yes.
Databases, business intelligence, reporting and dashboard, right? So it totally depends upon your job profile. Currently, I have seen a trend. Let me talk about my experience. I also work on the state and the federal projects, okay, from on behalf of my company. Whatever projects we are getting, for example, from some school, colleges, health institution, and recently we have done a very successful project with Cap Metro Austin, Texas. They have a common problem I am getting. They have their infrastructure 9 to 10 years old, which was created, let's say, around 2016, 17, or 2015, right? And that is
Okay.
all on-premise based. On-premise in the sense, it is completely hosted on the local site, local location. Now, what problem struggle they are facing? The struggle is what? Now they are getting some exponential growth, right, of the data. They do not want to put more investment on what? Maintenance activities, right? And they want to make sure data and everything will be available on every device over the globe. Anybody is traveling anywhere, they want information. It is only possible if we can store that information or perform all the reporting application on the cloud. Through that, we are able to get information from any device like mobile phone, tablet, PC, or something like this, right? Because we just need what? Internet. So internet is the thing that you need to utilize to get the information from the cloud. In addition, it is going to help you on what? Security. As I told you, that cloud build a trust that your data will always be secure in the cloud, right? Low maintenance. If you compare the cost of infrastructure to compare the cost in the cloud, it is very, very less. So let's suppose there's a candidate A who is joining a company and he doesn't know anything about the cloud versus a candidate B who basically have complete idea about database domain in the cloud. So companies saying, hey, we only work on the Azure. We do not work on-premise SQL Server. So guy A who basically just know to work on local machine, local SQL Server will not be getting less, not be getting more benefit, right? Because obviously he does not have the cloud knowledge. On other hand, there's candidate B who have a complete knowledge and infrastructure capability on the cloud on SQL Server. He can work very easily, right? Because there's a vast difference between these two things. So I would like to say that every organization want to migrate to the cloud for better benefits. And if you really want to work in a company, IT company, you can find out that they are utilizing at least any single cloud architecture in terms of GCP, Azure, or AWS.
Okay. And one more question popping in my mind, like if someone planning to start a new setup startup by suppose it by tomorrow, so a person can create their own cloud or he have to purchase that.
It totally depends what knowledge you have actually, as I discussed with
Okay,
you.
means it is
For example,
possible. Is it possible like
uh
to have it within a day? Means it
no, no,
can be
not like
created?
this.
No,
No, no,
no.
not like
So,
this.
okay,
See, an
okay.
expert person can do it, as I told you. Because you know
Yes,
what, as I show you the interface of portal.azure.com, right?
yes, yes,
So just for example, if suppose I ask you, hey, you have to install an operating system in a machine. I give you just a raw machine and you have to install an operating system. So basically, when you install it, it asks you different questions during the installation that we have to justify. Are you getting it? Right?
yes, yes.
Now we have to prepare the same machine in the cloud. So when you want to prepare the same machine in the cloud, it also asks you some few questions, right? About the capability, about the compute size, about the virtual, about the network, about the protocols. So in this case, the person must be having knowledge on that particular area, right? So we can basically take the third party services, or we can have some employees in the company who have knowledge on that part, which can help us to upgrade or go to the cloud architecture.
Okay, okay.
Yeah.
Well, thank you, Nitin. It looks like there is no more questions for today. So when it comes to upskilling and reskilling, CCS Learning Academy is designed to be yours and your organization's secret weapon. Our network of talented and passionate instructors are ready and waiting to work directly with you, your team, and the entire company. If you are new to IT or you are a seasoned professional, we offer a range of customized certification courses for your needs. And if you would like more information, please contact me. On behalf of CCS Learning Academy and Nitin, we thank you for attending to this important training and hope you enjoyed this intro session. Looking forward to you all joining our future session. Thank you. Stay safe. out there.